Yeah, perfect. What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. And I have a doozy for you today, man. I got some high-level guys that's doing the thing in the coaching game. Really proud of them and just some of the work that they've been doing already in their young careers. And as you know, look, I call myself the self-proclaimed sports guru, and that comes with a lot. But again, it's a self-proclamation. And a lot of times, there's people like me, the super fans that think we know everything. But what makes you a better fan is understanding there's folks that actually work and live this life that might know a few things that you might not know. And so I want to give this opportunity for two of my brothers to really give us some insight of what it's like to be a coach at certain ranks and just some of the things that they may see in the day-to-day that we don't see as fans. And then honestly, when we get into those talking and those pissing matches on social media, how do they take that? How do they feel? So I'm just going to start with introducing first. I mean, y'all know my brother Don. He's been a guest on the show a few times here and there. And so currently coaching the cornerbacks at Ponchatoula, had a stint at Bogalusa. Both of those teams did pretty well. So played some semi-pro. So Don, just say hey to the folks.
Hey, how y'all doing? I was good with it, man. Happy to be back.
And then I got my brother Marlon, West Bank's finest, Harvey's finest, Woodmere's finest, Thomas Jefferson High School finest, Houston Baptist, now known as Houston Christian. I don't know why they didn't reach out to you about that name change, dog. I don't know. I don't like it, but it is what it is. The only opposing player that I didn't allow Southeastern fans to taunt. So but my brother Marlon is now a grad assistant at Mississippi Valley State, coaching the running backs, man, but also done some work with the tight end. So say hey to the folks.
How y'all doing, man? I'm happy to be on with my brothers, man. It's always a pleasure.
Always, man. So let's just kind of get started. I mean, again, you guys are kind of in that coaching ranks. I both have an experience at high school level coaching, and now you, Marlon, coaching at the collegiate level, D1 collegiate level at that. I'll start with you, Marlon, first, just especially because you're so new in the profession, so to speak, as far as being a coach. Just when did you know you wanted to be a coach? What are some things that made you say, hey, I want to do this for a living?
Honestly, bro, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't really see it for myself while I was playing. But as we'll get into the talk to stuff about things that the outside world don't see. Senior year, bro, I really didn't play. We talked about this before, but I played a lot my first 3 years. Senior year, I had a new staff. Didn't really play that much. Didn't really start. I didn't start a game until my last game, my senior year against Sam Houston State. So, just talking with the DC back then, he was like, yeah, things might not have went the way, you wanted it to, but you're really smart. You have a lot of knowledge and you lead well. You're a good leader in the room. And so, I graduated during COVID. So originally what I was going to do a CFL combine that they had at HBU, which is now known as HCU. But COVID knocked it out, wiped it out. Then after that, I was like, man, didn't really give up on it, but I was content, man. Coming from where we come from, Thomas Jefferson, bro, I went D1. I did a lot of things. I had my bachelor's, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really hard pressed to, pursue the pro life and stuff like that. And then one of my brothers who coached me at TJ, his name's Trey Russell. He kept hitting me up. He was like, now that you're home, you might as well just come coach at Eric. Just come coach. Just come over here, come see what we're doing. And, from that first day, it was just something about it. Like, I can't really explain it, but I think it was more of at first, the connection to the kids here and, the environment that they come from and, just some of the circumstances they go through. Not saying necessarily I went through the same thing growing up, but just helping kids and kind of guiding them, showing them what life is about beyond football, because mostly, sports down here is really all we have. That's what the kids look through to try to get out of that situation. So that was my biggest thing. And then once I got, my feet wet, I love it, bro. And I got opportunity I played safety in college, but my corners coach at the time, we were really close. He ended up leaving my senior year. So he was he was at the Panthers with Matt Rule. Matt Rule had as a GA at Baylor and ended up taking him with him when he first went to the Panthers. So this is what, his second, third year, I think, in the league. He's a special teams coordinator. So he hit me up. He was like, man, like, you know, I think you should do this or whatever. I know you say you want to coach in college. This would be a good way to get your feet wet. So yeah, that's how it happened. That's exactly how everything lined up for me. So kind of the game business, you know, just knowing people, which is, like they say, that's what life is all about now, man. I'm really, as I'm growing older, I'm starting to see that it's really true. You know, it's not always about what you know, it's about who you know. So I can say I'm blessed in that aspect to get the opportunity, you know. And it's been cool so far. I still have a lot to learn a lot, especially being on the offensive side of the ball. But hey, man, it's nothing new. It's still ball at the end of the day, you know.
Man, wait, before I let my big brother tell us about his coaching journey, man, you gotta understand, I feel like a proud big brother just hearing you talk, man, about your story, man. Like, you don't understand when you be knowing people from when they, you know, real young in their life, and you just see them grow up to be an outstanding man, and knowing what you want in your career path now, man, that's beautiful. But I'm gonna go to my big bro, man, Don. Tell us a little bit about what got you into coaching and just what you love about that profession.
Yeah, so with me, like I knew I wanted to coach since I was like, honestly, since I was a little kid. For real, you know what I'm saying? Like I was that kid, I'm in the back of class, like I'm drawing plays, you feel me? I'm copying plays like off TV, off the game, like all of that. And, you know, like anybody, especially being from Louisiana, you feel like as soon as you look at a football, you're gonna make it, because like we know so many people, you know what I'm saying, from around the way that made it. So, you know, my career didn't go, you know, the way I planned on it going, you know what I mean, hurt my senior year of high school. Didn't really take the coach's advice when we was at Southeastern in terms of like what position to try out for. You know, wasn't confident in my skill set. So I didn't perform well, whoop-de-woo. Went the semi-pro route. Almost had an indoor opportunity, but that fell through. The team folded before we even played the game. And then the other opportunity I would have had, you know what I mean, just didn't pan out. And by that point, like I had already started coaching at 20. So like with me, I kind of had a long scenic route. You know, the one advantage that a lot of college athletes have, like Marlon, especially when they're intelligent, they can kind of jumpstart real quick. You feel me? So like with me, I volunteered at a small Catholic K-8 school, and I actually had sent in an email. The kinesiology department, you know, from Southeastern, they used to send like emails about people with job openings. So I sent like I sent a resume in to the school, and like there was a volunteer gig, and they were so blown away that it was like, well, you know, normally the dads help with football, but you know, if anything happened, we'll get back to you. And they hit me up like a month or so later, they needed a track coach. So I was coaching middle school track, and that's what got my foot in the door because of people I met. And I ended up coming into some people that, you know, coach high school, college, played college, you know what I'm saying? And that's really what got me jump started. So boom, I got out of college, and I'm making it real concise because anybody that know me, like, you know, my resume crazy, like in and out of sports. So I was working odd jobs, boom, high school gig, just coaching track, passed up on football because I did strength and conditioning with volleyball, you feel me? And I enjoyed that experience. It taught me patience. And then boom, that went south on the teaching side, which that'll be a whole thing I'll harp on later on in our conversation. And I went junior high basketball, then another one. And then I was out the profession for like a couple of years. And then I came back to education because in Louisiana, on the high school level, if you want a good career, you gotta be a certified teacher. So I was working outside sales in New Orleans. A friend of mine said, man, we really need a strong male presence, especially since you're a minority. We really need that. That brought me back to the classroom. COVID hit. So around the same time Marlon was trying to further his career, I was trying to get back into coaching. Man, in the middle of the pandemic, sitting on the couch playing Madden, I'm in a Madden league, a dude I played on the minor league team with. He asked me about what I was doing. And he's like, man, you trying to coach? And I was like, hell yeah, like that's always been part of the plan. And come to find out, he was just named the defensive coordinator at Glen Oaks in North Baton Rouge. And that's what got me back, not only on the high school level, but coaching high school football. You feel me? And I took that opportunity, ran with it. And And then I actually turned down a teaching job at Bogalusa because I had a coworker that who was the principal there. And I had passed up, come a man of my word. Well, being at Glen Oaks, I got to coach all 3 levels of the defense. I got to do a lot of things I wouldn't have been able to do anywhere else. That prepared me for Bogue. Boom, I go to Bogue. And I got to coach under Sarah Crutchfield Jr. and his right-hand man, Lou. Like, their whole staff was just stacked with, like, knowledgeable veterans. That accelerated my growth even more so. And then literally after I actually got hurt earlier this year playing minor league ball, semi-pro ball. So I'm sitting on the couch. The current head coach at Ponce now, he hits me up saying I need a guy that can come teach young DBs coverage and, you know, yada yada. I was like, you know what, it's a close commute. I feel like, you know, it'll take a year or two, but I'll be able to go compete for state as a coach the same way I got that opportunity at Bogue now. And it was an opportunity to be closer to home to my people, you know what I mean, instead of driving an hour and a half every day. So boom, did that. So in 3 years, I went from coaching at a not so competitive 3A school to being at a perennial 5A program in 3 years. And, you know, I don't have the best faith, but, you know, like I tell people, God got to exist because ain't no way, you know, between hard work and being lucky and, you know, the man above. So I feel insanely fortunate, you know, even in the room that I'm in now, man, and Marlon can tell you, man, the football community is so small, bro. Like, through one of the coaches in my room, I'm connected to Dave Aranda and Ryan Roberts. Like, you know, through the people in my room, I'm connected to, like, people that was in the Buffalo program. Like, somebody I coached with at Glen Oaks. I literally coached with one guy who broke Walter Payton record while he was at Southern, and another guy who played at U of H, who brother is an all-pro in the league right now. And both of those 2 guys are in their late 20s, you know. So at 33, I wish my resume wasn't as stressful as it is with all the odd jobs between, but man, I wouldn't trade it in. But you start to see everything happen for a reason, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not make it, and the reason why you didn't make it is because you might help 10 kids make it, for real. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. But I when I say I love this profession, bro, like we save lives with what we do. It don't matter if you college, pro, junior high, like football, it can destroy lives, but it can save too. You know what I'm saying? And typically when it destroys life is because they feel like that's all they had. So when you can get a kid to realize, don't let football be who you are, let it be what you do. Coaches too, because to coach this game, to play this game, you gotta be messed up in the head for real. You know, we come to this game for therapy. So, but yeah, man, that's how I got into coaching. Long story, hella short. And, you know, that's why I enjoy about it, man. Just being competitive, you know, getting to get better at your craft every day. Because as coaches, we don't know everything, bro. Like if you talk about if you talk about cover 2 or cover 3, like you got like damn near 100 coverage variations. So like when people be sitting there talking about, oh man, like what type of cover 3 were they running? Were they running cloud? Was it double cloud? Was it match? You know what I'm saying? Was it soft? You know what I mean? Cover 4, was it match quarters? You know what I'm saying? Was it a true like, you know what I'm saying? So we actually, you end up being humble for real. Like, that's why, like, you notice, like, on social, like, you don't really see too many, like, coaches really arguing, because it's like, we know what we know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's a good segue to our next part of the day. Just kind of, you know, you kind of started to see some professional athletes take this stance as well. Like I saw Darius Slay, he was saying, like, everybody always say we got safety help over top, and I'm running cover 4. So, you know, I guess it's part of new media where they're starting to say, look, man, like, I know what y'all see on TV, but it's so complicated, so much more complicated than what you see, kind of to your point, Don. And so I just kind of want to get to what are some things, and Martin, I'll let you touch on it first, just what are a few things where it kind of goes into the day-to-day as far as preparation, actual game action, that a fan watching on TV or from the stands, they might see it one way, but this is what's actually going on in those particular concepts and situations.
Well, I'm gonna just build off what Don said to start with that. So it's like, say we run cover 1, right? We might start pressing cover 1. We might, you know, back off. You might slough off, you know, bail off, or whatever you might want to call it, right? So when we were in college, we used to try to make everything look the same. Like, defensive thing, that's pretty much what DC tries to say. You want things to look the same, so QBs and coordinators can't get a beat on you, right? So we'll start pressed, and we'll be in 4, and we'll call it FBL, fake bell funnel, right? So you're bailing on a snap, all right, and you're open with your butt to the sideline, right? So say, for instance, like that, they don't understand the little minute details of, all right, yeah, this time they were in man, but on this certain play, it looks the exact same, but it was a whole different coverage. You can match and mirror things and make them look the same, but it's completely different. And also, just they don't understand how much preparation, like you said, goes into it from even a coaching standpoint. And really, with me being on the collegiate level, it's 10 times more, because it's like, bro, in college, I might have broke down. I mean, in high school, I might have broke down for our kids. I might have broke down like the last 3 games. Man, college for a week, you might break down 4, 5, 6 games, and that's maybe 400 plays. You know what I'm saying? Runs, passes. You're looking for tendencies within everything. Like, it's a true process, and so it's a lot. It can be a lot of overload. And so they don't understand what these college kids or sometimes professionals are dealing with on a week-to-week basis. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's hard to see, like, like, say, for instance, like, we're big LSU. I'm a big LSU fan. You're a big Bama fan. It's like, oh, these kids aren't the same. Or how can't this kid see this? Or, like, you don't know what that kid is seeing in the moment. And sometimes, even as a coach on the field or in a box, you don't see everything. So it's really a lot to unpack. And it's just like, one thing I've learned for sure, like, and I've heard just, sitting in meetings with coaches and the college coaches, like, it's always never as good as you thought it was. And it's also at the same time never as bad as you thought it was. Right. So sometimes you have to take it with a grain of salt. So it's just, a big thing is preparation. And I don't know, my biggest ick or complaint about couch fans, most of the time, the normal fan is somebody who wasn't either good at that sport or didn't even play sports growing up. So how could you comment and degrade these young men, you know what I'm saying, even starting at high school? Because, in New Orleans and Louisiana, like, we take it pretty serious. So it's like, man, like, some of the things you hear during the game and, what I'm saying, you see on Twitter, it's just like, bro, like, you don't even know the half of what this kid has put into just to play this 1 week. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot, man. I could go on, but sometimes, like you say, bro, we're respectful. Coaches don't, I know for a fact, me and Don, because I've seen Don on Twitter before, we don't try to degrade, but it's just like, I'm not going to continue to argue with you when I know for a fact I know what I'm seeing. Right. And you're trying to tell me it's something else. You heard they do it this way, X, Y. Like, nah, bro, you got it. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't start like
Marlon don't have to defend himself on Twitter because I handle it for him. I just be
Now you definitely be stepping on people for real. Like this, like, I just be sitting up because man, like, because you already know, Trey, like there's people we know, like, I got them muted. So I just, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for that, bro. So, like, something that I tell people, like, because, like, I'm one of them people, like, if you a fan, like, yeah, man, debate, argue, you know what I mean, share your opinion. But if you start getting reckless or you start getting, like, disrespectful, that's when I kind of get petty in conversation. Like, I bet, like, what's your favorite run concept? What's your favorite pass concept? Give me your pass protection for real. Like, all right, defensively, like, what's your coverage? What's your front? Like, what's your go-to coverage? What's your pressure? What's your blitz? You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? Like how we coming? Oh, like, you mad at what happened on special teams? Like, what happened? Was it a breakdown in protection? Like, was the blocking scheme there? Like, did somebody, like, what was the releases? You feel me? Like, and once you start speaking that lingo, and then you see a deer in the headlight look, I'm like, okay, now picture this. I do this for a check, and I still get my ass handed to me by, like, more experienced coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you have to be humble. Like the same thing you learn if you do a martial art or a sport. Like be humble because you don't know everything, bro. Like that's like if like offensive guys' favorite concept is mesh. You feel me? Like they think like it beats everything. And, like, one thing they get taught is as the route runner, if his zone sit, if his man keep running, you know what I'm saying? So if a QB throw a pick, oh man, well, okay. The receiver could have been an idiot because there's some dumb receivers out there that can just run fast. So instead of sitting, they kept running. So the quarterback throws it to the spot he's supposed to be at. Now it's a pick. You get what I'm saying? Like, because on the high school level, we have to deal with family members in the stands. You know what I'm saying? And I love the support. You know what I'm saying? But like, what happens a lot of times, and it goes across all sports. Are you with us in the gym, on the field, when like this particular kid ain't working hard, not paying attention, not studying? You know what I'm saying? So like, as a coach, you want all your guys to succeed. You wish everybody could play. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if I put this kid right here in a bad situation, he or she performs bad, now this kid gonna feel embarrassed in a stadium full of people. Like, we have to take all that into account. Like fans just want results, and families just want results because of their family member, for real. So it's like, you know, so that's why, like, you know, like on social media, another reason why we kind of respectful is even when we get pissed off, this is a screenshot error, for real. So like, we gotta like be careful. Like, you got it. Let me close out. Let me go look at a funny TikTok or something before I go to sleep. Like, I ain't about to let you stress me out. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's crazy, man? So, and look, I've been doing good with it, but my New Year's resolution this year was, look, man, if you didn't play past high school or not coaching, like I can't talk to you. And like, a lot of people don't know this about me, but like, I'm a coach's son. So there are certain things where like when people be talking about the game, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you really sure? And it's like, well, yeah, I know, because you know, I played 3 snaps in high school, stuff like that. And it just got to a point where either you arguing people that's unqualified, or you arguing with people who can't even put their picture as their AV. And so it's just one of those things. Like, man, look, for my mental health right now, I'm not even about to try to educate you. I'm just gonna let it go. And I was good. I was good for most of the year. But I'm telling you, this new stuff, especially with the way the Saints season has been going, and
tough.
Look,
Tough.
and I never thought I would have to be telling people, look, I ain't even played football like that. I'm a basketball guy. But even I know the difference between a top-down read and if my quarterback is looking at the guy way downfield first, that more than likely it's designed. It's not that he just decided to ignore the running back or the check down, right? But you get into these debates with people, and now it's gotten to the point where even employees, I guess, because they feel like they've been around the team, that they can go back and forth with people. But man, it is crazy, and that's kind of why I want to have conversations like this. Like I always say, look, if you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, you need to change the room. A lot of times, you need to give people that a little bit more, right? And so I know y'all said, especially in the screenshot era, like I know y'all don't really get into it, but just what's something that you see that just made you just say, I really want to send something and respond to something right now, but I won't.
What is everything for 500, Alex?
It's a lot, bro.
I know it's one for you. I know it's one for you, Marlon.
Oh yeah.
We only watch film for the current season we're in.
Oh, man, so yeah, man, I was told pretty much that coaches don't look back on previous years because it doesn't matter. And, tendencies don't come from previous years. It's all about what you've done this year. And it's just like, okay. So my biggest rebuttal to that is straight, no shots, just talking football. I told Trey, I said, why do you think LSU felt so confident running that pick play this year against Alabama? Alabama has historically struggled with that play, dating back to the national championship against Clemson. That was what, 4 years ago, Trey?
Like, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. It was against Deshaun Watson's team. So that was about 5 years ago.
Renfro had the catch. So it's just like, coaches keep stuff like that in the back of their mind. We might practice it once or twice during the week, but there are certain situations where like you have the look you want, it's perfect, everything you want, you dial it up and it works. And sometimes it still may not work, but it's just like, like, don't tell me, especially when I'm learning more in depth, that, like, yeah, so we broke down, say for instance, we break down Jackson State. We did the last 4 games, but then we also looked at our game versus them last year, what they did versus certain formations and sets and protections and things like that. And we went back as far as 2 years. So it's just like, man, like, what do you get out of arguing a coach? That point, like, I didn't say that. Trey had my back,
Always.
At that point, you can ask Trey. At that point, I stopped replying. Like, I was
bro, you saw how I put my phone down though. Like, you feel me? Like, I really, because I'm gonna make you laugh, bro. Because in ball, once you start coaching, people will tell you it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and Joes. You know what I mean? And I was in a situation like, love my Glen Oak boys on the north side, like, for real. But like, we weren't where we was as a program to compete that year. I was there, right? So like, and I was in the box, right? Man, we was playing. I mean, like, our name drop. We were playing against UI, and I forgot the guy that was the OC then. Like, one of my homeboys, the OC there now, but it was this white guy who coached at a small school in Oklahoma, like a small D2 or D3, and he was regarded as a national RPO mind. How do I know that? Because I Googled him. Like, I'm insanely, like, OCD and neurotic. So like, if I realize I'm coaching against somebody and they've been around the block, I Google them. So like, this how bad it was. I started watching film of his offense in college, right, to study, because you study coaches, you study schemes. Then there was another coach at West Feliciana. I'm like, damn, he young. He 30. He the same age as me. He the head? I saw he played at Millsaps. I called a homie that was a teammate of mine in high school, because he came to my school because of Katrina. Hey, Mace, hey, this about to be weird as hell, though. Hey, such and such? Hey, he coached there. I'm just curious what offense y'all ran. He like, oh, he was a receiver, but he wasn't good and he got hurt. Boom. So not only did I watch, like, I studied, like, anything that he coached around at Millsap, I was watching TCU and LSU when he was a GA and an assistant coach there. Then I went back and watched Catholic film when he was the OC, because I need to know what you want to call on 3rd and 6 inside the 20. And, like, you trying to, like, you feel me? Like, to say we just watch, like, no, last year film always matter, because humans have tendencies. Like, you have to study their patterns. Like, you can't do that. You feel me? Like, you can use basketball, like Kobe, Mike, LeBron. Like, they got a 20-year catalog in their head. Could they know what this coach want in this situation? They know what this player wanted. Like, no, you can't do that. We study. Like the stock market, you got to know the trends.
Right.
You feel me? It matters. Coaches really don't change; they just evolve. So they might have the same concept, passing concept, with just maybe it's a mirror concept. So maybe it's the same routes on both sides, but he might change it to where he got a different concept on the other side. So it's just like, that's just like Mike Leach. Let's say for example, rest in peace to a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Right. This stuff, it was some of the same stuff he was running at Washington State that he brought to Mississippi. It's a matter of, can you stop it? And that's just what it really is. That's just what football is nowadays. It's really an offensive game, man. And
right.
They don't care about outside for real, boy. They don't give defenders nothing.
Look, man, and to the point Marlon made earlier, just kind of talking about, hey, this is what LSU did the studying to see, hey, this is where Alabama is vulnerable. Now, me as just a fan, I was kind of like, why the hell we didn't zone up, or why would we run that type of defense? But that's with the understanding of, you never run that type of defense. And so why would you just decide now? Tendency says you're going to run what you run. And if their best play beats your best play, it is what it is. And so, again, like I said, us couch players and coaches, we have a mindset of what it's supposed to look like, even though we're not the ones making the calls, doing the preparation. We're not the ones on the field that actually got to make it happen. And that's where you got to have a little bit of humility. Like, if you've never been there, we have to understand that sometimes you got to take a seat and just relax. And what's always funny to me is, I feel like the coaches and players side of things, that's completely obvious, especially when you get in the nitty gritty of who's actually been at that level. But what's always fascinating for me is the administration side of things, and folks thinking they really understand how from a college standpoint or a high school standpoint, how athletic departments work or how it works in the league. Like, I really had somebody argue me down that coaches and GMs at the next level don't do things within the game plan to prevent a player from getting that incentive. It was like, no, that would never happen. It was like, well, look, if I want to save $100,000 and you need 5 yards to get that, I'm gonna sub you out.
Easy.
And
all sports.
And as Saints fans, we saw that firsthand. Like everybody, like Mark Ingram threw a tirade on the sideline. Everybody's like, "What's going on?" Because you subbed him out from the 2-yard line, and he about to make $100,000 if he cash it in with a touchdown, and you just sat him for no reason. And so, and then it's interesting with the coaches always moving and really what goes into the finances of funding coaches and things of that nature. Like Marlon, like I can't really say the college, but I was just talking about a specific coach that might be looking at D1 opportunities, but folks think he should stay at the D2 level. But you don't understand the man's resume. If I spend 20 years at the D1 level and I go down to D2, that's for one reason and one reason alone. That's just to show I can do it. When I show I can do it, D1's gonna start calling. And he may or may not be a finalist for a D1 job. I can't say it, but you know. But that might be the case. And so that's always interesting to me from the administration side of things, because folks really think, you know, if they got a $200 million budget, they really know what to do. And they've never seen that amount of money in their life and probably never will. But hey, I would pay this player this much. I would do this and I would do that. But we never know. And like I said, and like y'all been saying, there's a level of grace, even when you're in that profession. You mentioned as coaches, there's going to be something that another coach that's probably been doing a little bit longer or a different level might know a little bit more. And you just can't be like, well, I've been doing it for X amount of time, or I've been this place and that place. There's always room to learn. So I appreciate y'all, you know, taking your time out this Saturday. I know there's a lot of college football, but go ahead,
man. Going back to the conversation we were having, even Don mentioned, one good thing I saw from y'all play A&M this year in the overtime game. So they beat y'all on a little concept. Looked like y'all were running zone. And it looked like, I don't know if it was Evan Stewart or one of the other guys, but he just ran a simple stick route. But y'all were lined up inside leverage.
Right.
So he ran it off the leverage, right? And then the next time they got down to the goal line, they ran the same exact thing. Y'all switched the leverage up, boom, stop. Fans don't understand, like, you know, coaches might not, you know, you might get beat with something one time, but then it's not always going to come back that next time it be the same outcome. You know what I'm saying? It's just a chess match. You know what I'm saying? That's what a game is. And sometimes you might not have the answers that day. And that's just really, that's as simple as I could put it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? One play, you know, oh man, we go get, let me get into it right. Man, just
give me 3 hours.
I would QB2 now, you know, like Carolina game, you know, broken back or whatever, yada yada. Don, no, you know, you play through injuries, so you can't really too much use that as an excuse, right? But the man back was broken. But pretty much, you know, Alvin fumbled, I'm pretty sure, in the beginning of the game.
Right.
Poured off of that. Like, we had like 2 or 3 fumbles and he might have threw 2 picks. But by the time he threw the picks, like, bro, we're behind. So it's just like, fans, they try to pinpoint true momentum shifts in games to where, like, you know, like I could say, Don, like, you know, being on the sideline and in the box, I know there's been certain points in games where you're coaching and you're just like, a play happens that doesn't go your way, and you think in your head, like, we might lose this game because of this one play. Like, it's not necessarily that one play, but it plays a part, if I'm making sense. Like, man,
yeah, everything built up to that moment, and you get to the point to like, all right, this the play. Like, if we get this play, we're gonna win this thing. If we don't get it, hey, it might be all she wrote. You know what I'm saying? But when you watch the film, you can point to other things that contributed it. That's like I tell people, like, one play don't win or lose it. You know what I'm saying? It's a combination of things. You know what I'm saying? It's like your boy dropped the pass in the Celebration Bowl.
Right.
Like, that would have been a game, because you still gotta go for an extra point or go for 2. You know what I'm saying? So that play didn't win or lose it. You know, you gotta look at the 2-point conversion. You know what I mean? There was some dumb penalty, like, yeah. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, that one play ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, man. But I just hate when the Couch fans try to call what James threw this pick. That's what lost us the game. Blah blah. I'm just like, bro, were you like watching? Like, are we watching the same games? Like, how do we win when Taysom and Alvin and Rashid get involved, and then the next game they don't get involved, and then you just like, oh, well, defense got to step up, and it's a team that I feel like teams, they have their recipes for winning. Like obviously, like Saints, what I'm saying? We run the ball well with Taysom and Alvin gets his touches in the right way, we utilize them correctly, we win. You know what I'm saying? And we take that pressure off of Andy. A simple thing. Andy's not a world beater. So you gotta help him manage the game. He's a good game manager, I'll give him that, but we don't expect him to just go bomb a defense, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would say Drew, you can't compare him with Drew Brees. I know that's a long shot, but, what we used to see back in Drew's younger days. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand, and I'm only 3 years into coaching. You know what I'm saying? I played in college, but coaching is a whole different realm. So it's like even me, my first couple years of coaching, like you don't understand the ebbs and flows of the game. Like it's completely different when you're, on the sideline looking at it, in the box looking at every single detail. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot, man. It's a lot that they don't understand that we can sit here and talk about for hours, bro.
Yeah, but even with Jameis, so like he gets a bad rep for the 30 for 30 year. And something that I've told people a lot, like Bruce Arians is a damn good coach, great coach. But in his system, about 85% of the time, first-year quarterbacks have a high clip of turnovers. Only 2 in their first year were sub 20 in turnovers. So Jameis never got the year 2. Then you look at how that Tampa Bay team was constructed. The front 7 was top 3 or top 5 against the run. All they needed to do was to shore up their secondary and to shore up their O-line play. So when Tom went, they drafted Winfield, right? And he played out his body his rookie year. They had physical tools. They had physical tools on their in their secondary. And then the O-line got better. And then, like, you already had a loaded receiver room. You add AB, so now you got a lighter box, right? Then you bring in Gronk, the most physically dominant, like, tight end of all time. So you bring it up. Then you bring in Fournette to go along with Ryan Jones. So when you got all of these pieces, so now defense has got to think, do we put a heavy box or a light box? Do we play coverage? How do we apex defenders? You know what I'm saying? So, like, Jameis was a Pro Bowl quarterback at one point in his career. And he's only like 27, 28. So it's like optically, and I think some fans look at him as Aaron Brooks 2.0. But when you go look behind the lens, AB was playing with a blown shoulder. And AB record was better on the road because at home he didn't feel love. They were chanting for Jake Delhomme. Mm-hmm. Then his last year was the Katrina season. Like, so you got to throw all that in the play. Then his career ended in Oakland because Al Davis wanted to bang the ball on first and second down with Lamont Jordan. And then on third down, run a play action pass, try to throw it over the top to Randy. That was too predictable. So he wasted a year or two of Randy's career, effectively ended Lamont Jordan and Aaron Brooks' career in Oakland. But the average person, and a lot of fans just want to be emotional. They don't want to become with logic. Because there's people that play, coach, all that, and it's like, one of my OGs told me, said, man, I just want to be a fan right now. Leave me alone, Don. Stop trying to make me use logic. I said, man, you got that. You know what I'm saying? But no, I just think like I just came with more like reasoning to not only explain Jameis, but to go back 20 years and explain AB. And even with all that, people like, oh man, both of them still trash. But what, huh? How? Like, I just gave you reasons why. You got guys in the league that think Jameis trash. Like, LaShawn McCoy, Mr. Craig, I disagree. I think Jameis is probably too late for him now, but Jameis could have been a generational quarterback in this league. But he plays like a white quarterback. That's another thing, too. Taysom plays how people would expect Jameis to play and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's a whole nother conversation.
Jameis could use them legs. And he was using them last year because we had no receivers to throw the ball to, so he had to run.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a little nervous this year.
Yeah, that's right.
I can hear y'all talk ball for hours, but time restrictions and whatnot. So we gonna end up calling it. But man, look, if y'all listening and watching, I need y'all to remember these two faces because they're going places. You're gonna be seeing them at some of the most high levels. Because one, they're passionate about what they do. I might be a little biased, but I think they're great and one of the greats at what they do. And so, good things happen to good people. I know it doesn't always feel like that, but look, if you give it time, it's gonna happen. So remember these faces, man, and remember where you saw them. Seeing in my podcast,
You saw the first.
you know. But man, appreciate y'all being on today. It's always good.
Of course, man. It was nice being on here with y'all. Bring me back, bro. I don't mind talking.
Always.
Look, I almost brought out the erase board when Marlon was talking for real.
We gonna chop it up. We gonna lock in for sure.
I keep one on the board. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, look, I was like, shit, he talking. I was like, let's get the drum.
Right. But look, I'm gonna switch the closing since I didn't talk as much. I'm gonna switch the closing up a little bit. If there's anything that these two gentlemen said that may have offended you, that is a good thing. It's an opportunity for them to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to teach them. All we ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.
All right.